The United States and Britain have launched a series of airstrikes on the Houthi militia in Yemen. Washington and London put out a joint statement saying that they hit dozens of targets, which included underground weapons depots, missile systems and launchers, and radars. The strike is a part of the U.S. military's effort to deter the Houthis from further disrupting global shipping lanes in the Red Sea. Well, for more, we can now talk to Rodger Shanahan. He's a Middle East analyst and military expert based in Sydney, Australia. Welcome to DW. So, according to those U.S. officials, these strikes in Yemen hit 36 different targets. What more can you tell us about them?
Yeah, listen, we were told that there were 36 targets in 13 different locations. And the aircraft were from the United States and the UK, and there are also sea-based missiles fired from ships in the Red Sea. The targets were support mechanisms for anti-shipping weapons that the Houthis utilise, so radars, actual launchers, as well as ammunition, stockpiles of missiles, ballistic and cruise, and some drones as well. So a relatively wide range of both mechanisms to launch projectiles into the Red Sea and also the rockets and missiles themselves.
We do know, though, that previous strikes on Yemen in response to the Houthis' attacks on the shipping lanes in the Red Sea have not deterred the rebels. So how would these strikes be any different?
Well, listen, I think there's two things to that. First of all, given the sheer size of this operation, 36 targets, 13 different locations, I think we have to see this as part of that broader US response to the deaths of 3 US military personnel. 24 hours before, we'd seen 85 different targets in 7 locations in Syria and Iraq. So I think it's part of the broader multi-spectrum response from the United States, but also it's part of a longer-term degrade mission by the United States. Things like launches for ballistic missiles, there's only a finite number of them. You can import a range of missiles, you can manufacture missiles and drones, but the launches and the ancillary pieces of equipment such as radar sites and that kind of stuff, much harder to replace. So it's not only a deterrence effect, it's also a degrading effect by reducing the stockpiles of very important components of the complete missile and rocket systems.
You mentioned that these latest strikes on targets in Yemen are linked to Friday's U.S. airstrikes on targets in Iraq and Syria, and also specifically that this was in response to the killing of the 3 U.S. servicemen. Of course, what all of these strikes have in common is that they're targeting Iran-backed groups. But can the U.S. continue targeting Iranian proxies without risking a direct confrontation from Iran itself?
Yeah, listen, it's a fair question, and I think that's part of the very delicate policy line that the Biden administration has to walk. It has to respond to attacks against its personnel that result in deaths. It has to respond to attacks in the Red Sea against commercial maritime traffic. So these are givens. And after the death of the personnel in Jordan, it has to have a response that is sufficiently robust and is sufficiently lengthy that changes the cost-benefit analysis for Iranian allied militia groups without directly attacking Iran, because the assessment is if you directly attack Iranian territory, then they will be much more likely to become more involved in it. If you attack at the extremities of Iranian influence, in other words, its proxy groups, then they understand the rules of the game and they're far less likely to respond directly. So as we said before, a very delicate policy line to walk along, but they appear to be doing it at the moment with a robust response, but not tipping that line where Iran feels that it needs to become directly involved.
That was Rodger Shanahan, Middle East analyst and military expert based in Sydney. Many thanks indeed for your insights.
My pleasure.